Tonight, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris preparing for a rematch. They'll share center stage at CNN's debate in less than 2 weeks. But she's not the only one the Biden campaign has their eyes on. A source telling CNN they're anticipating most of the other candidates on that stage to direct fire at Biden. The vice president's strategy? Well, he'll try to point out policy differences, particularly on health care. Out front now, Michael Nutter, former mayor of Philadelphia and Joe Biden supporter, Jess McIntosh, CNN political commentator and former director of communications outreach for Hillary Clinton's campaign, and Van Jones, former special advisor to President Obama and host of The Van Jones Show. Welcome all. So, Mayor, let me start with you. How prepared and how important is it that Biden comes better prepared than he was during the first debate?
Well, there's no question that the vice president has some work to do. You know, first debates often are a challenge, especially if you haven't been on the field in a while. I expect that he will be very, very prepared. And certainly with every respect to Senator Harris, you know, there will be 10 people on the stage. He has 8 other folks to worry about as well. Whether you're ahead in the polls or people think you're ahead in the polls or the perceived front runner, folks are going to come at you. You know, part of your strategy is you may not score a lot of points, but you want to make sure you don't lose any at the same time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised with the candor that the vice president gave to our Chris Cuomo when he said he just wasn't prepared for Senator Harris to come at him the way she did. Many question, well, what's going to happen when the president comes at you at a debate? But clearly there are going to be other candidates we're going to be focusing on as well. And Van, I want to ask you about the Pete Buttigieg question and what we can expect to see from him, specifically with regards to Beto O'Rourke. You interviewed Mayor Pete. You say he's the real deal. Yeah. He has outraised Beto tenfold, if not more, for the second quarter. What are you looking for specifically from Beto coming into this debate? How important is it for him to have a good night?
Well, I mean, it's do or die for Beto. I mean, he is prepared and qualified to go to the next debate, so he'll still be around, but he's becoming more and more of an afterthought. Listen, Pete Buttigieg is a potential phenomenon. He's got a magical quality to him. When he talks, he can slow down time. He can make all kinds of points beautifully that the average person can understand and that intellectuals can appreciate. He reminds me of Obama in that regard. And so he's the most dangerous person on that stage. He's the best athlete on the field. And all he's got to do is not lose ground and just continue building this incredible operation he's building in Iowa. His entire strategy is Iowa. He's building a digital operation. He's building a fundraising operation. And so I think nobody knows what Beto's strategy is. He's got to do something to get himself back into this game.
Yeah, and he was a superstar once upon a time, only a few months ago. But when you talk about Mayor Pete, I agree with you. You hear so many people say that he's got that it factor, yet he's still really dragging when it comes to the African-American vote. What does he need to do? Because he's not going to be able to get this nomination without that support.
Well, look, first of all, a lot of other people are going to have to fall away because there's nickels and dimes lying all over the floor there that he's going to have to scrape up for himself in general. And as those fall away, that will be available to him. I think that he's got a problem with the African-American community because I don't think he answers the questions great yet. And I think also, you know, the fact that he didn't handle the police brutality thing well is a problem. But here's what I know about this guy. And listen, I'm neutral. I'm not out here saying I want him to be president. But here's what I know about this guy. He learns fast, and he can improve. And he just has the biggest opportunity above him of all the candidates.
And he's admitted failure in South Bend as well.
I liked the way that he was actually able to say, I couldn't get it done, which is not a thing that you hear from politicians very often, and that kind of candor really does resonate with the voters. But there is a gender dynamic here where male candidates are allowed to be praised for their potential. Women have to show up with all of the qualifications already in place.
Good point.
So I think a lot of women are looking at Mayor Pete and saying, sure, yeah, he looks great. But he's a 37-year-old mayor from a very small town. We have women running who have been in the Senate for years with really long proven track records of getting things done in terms of our progressive vision. Why should I care more about somebody who looks like he could do a lot of good when I have women who already have?
And one of those women, Elizabeth Warren, right? And we're expecting to see a big night between her and Bernie Sanders. They go back many years. They say that they are friends. They are aligned on many issues. Yet, as we know, Elizabeth Sanders has a plan for just about everything.
Yes.
Bernie Sanders, not so much. I want you to listen to a soundbite we have about Warren talking about her relationship with Sanders.
I think Bernie is terrific. We were friends long before I ever got involved in politics.
I talk to Elizabeth Warren every single day.
We just don't attack each other.
Okay.
It's not about attack. Bernie's been my friend forever, and I've been his friend forever.
Elizabeth is a friend of mine. I think she's running a good campaign.
It's a breath of fresh air to hear that, though, right?
And
but how
it's
long?
true.
How long will it hold? When do the gloves?
Like famous
need to
last
come off?
words. Like this time next week, we're gonna be cut into like a fist fight.
You never know in this world.
No, I think it's a genuine friendship. I think it's based on a lot of ideological similarities. I don't think that either one of them has a ton to gain by really going after the other one. If we do see fireworks, I think it's actually kind of counterintuitively more likely to come from Bernie than from Elizabeth, even though he's still slightly ahead of the polls, because his momentum is really slowing while hers is just gathering steam. That's one of the major dynamics from the last debate is we saw the two men in the front drop down and the two women who had been in 6th to 3rd really rock it up.
And many say Bernie Sanders is the same Bernie Sanders they saw in 2016.
Yes.
I want to bring the mayor in because you say Bernie Sanders has never been reluctant to go after anyone.
Well, no. I mean, when folks play tennis, they might be friends, but you are going to take the shot. You are trying to win, and so I'm not saying anybody's putting a knife in anybody's neck. But if there's a policy difference, you are going to articulate what that difference is, make your point, and then move on. So I mean, this is the big leagues here. Nobody's playing, and then they can go out for drinks afterwards. But on that stage, the rule is protect yourself at all times from everyone.
They're both going to come ready to play, that's for sure. Van, I want to talk to you about something that's very important to you. We're very proud of you, your work on this as well. Today, more than 3,000 inmates, men and women, have been released from federal prison under the First Step Act. You worked to pass that. Bipartisanship, it works, along with Jared Kushner. Talk about what went into making this work and how you're feeling about this right now.
I mean, I don't have words. There's nothing more important than freedom, human freedom and human dignity. There's nothing more important than that. It's beyond partisanship. It's beyond politicians. There are people who are serving life sentences for stuff that, people watching are probably going to do this weekend. It didn't make any sense. But it wasn't just a Van Jones and a Jared Kushner show. That's what the media showed. You had formerly incarcerated people like Lewis Reed, like Topeka Sam, directly impacted people like Jessica Jackson, people who just cared, and they just wouldn't let this thing go. And this bill, as you remember, it died 1,000 deaths on the Hill. All the experts said, there's no way, Trump will never sign it, it's never gonna happen. And these grassroots folks, Cut 50 and FAM and all these groups, wouldn't let it die. And Freedom Works and American Conservative Union all got together. And as a result now, you've got people coming home. And think much more we could do if on some of these issues, not everything, but on some we could get together.
And think about how many lives have changed for the better because of that. Thank you so much.
Well,
What a great note to end the panel on. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Van, though, he's got a great weekend coming up, too. Don't miss the Van Weekend Show on Saturday at 7. This weekend, guess he's going to be talking to? None other than soccer star Megan Rapinoe. Wow, you're so lucky. And out front next, breaking news. We're learning new details about the president's new strategy when it comes to Iran. This as the rogue nation storms not